So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's webcast about configuration management for PLE assets with pure variants and GitHub. I'm Robert Hellebrand, and I'm happy to introduce you to Dr. Yang Li from Pure Systems, who will be our presenter today. In field application engineering and consulting, he is sharing his knowledge about product line engineering and pure variants in tutorials, trainings, and workshops to help our customers on their journey towards a systematic variant management approach. Before we start, some remarks. You can find all of our upcoming webcasts on our website. And all webcasts will also be recorded and uploaded to the Pure Variants YouTube channel, so you can watch them again afterwards. If you have questions, you can post them at any time during the webcast in the chat system. Only our webcast team will be able to see your questions, and we will collect your questions to answer them at the end of the webcast in a Q&A session. If there are open questions left, so if there are too many questions, we will contact you after the webcast to follow up on them. With that, I will now hand over to Yang.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Thank you for the introduction, and welcome everyone from my side. So in this presentation, I would like to introduce you to the configuration management for PLE and how you can achieve it with Pure Variants and GitHub. Let's get started. First, let's have a look at why configuration management is important for PLE. The figure here shows an overview of the application of configuration management for product lines. The integration in black in the middle is your main development branch. You can actually decouple a release for a variant from these ongoing changes on the main branch. You can create other branches for the independent activities, development activities from the main branch. For example, you can add new features and also add bug fixes with help of these development branches. So with the evolution of the main branch of your PLE assets, you have different versions of the variants since they are released at different point of times. All the changes causing all the changes here in your development branches, causing the differences, will be tracked via the configuration management, meaning that every team member can work on the right version they want. For example, the main branch hosts the latest version of your PLE assets in the end, right? But you want to actually add some bug fixes for release earlier in the middle, and you are free to directly roll back to the version at this point of time, and then you can make changes and then derive the variant assets again, and then you can merge the changes back into this release. Moreover, configuration management can also help you develop and ship products faster with the CI/CD capability. Of course, you have different ways to achieve this configuration management. In this webcast, we focus on how to use GitHub to achieve this goal in a file-based system. I will show you an overview of the workflow via GitHub. First, let's have a look at the remote repository on GitHub. There can be a remote repository holding the PLE assets, for example, the feature models and domain assets that can be later on used to derive the variant-specific assets. So in the meantime, the PLE assets will evolve and some changes might happen based on the requirements of customers or the marketing analysis. That is to say, probably you need to add new features to the feature models and new assets and bug fixes in the current PLE assets. But let's say when you do some experiments with changes, you don't want to affect the original project in the original PLE assets repository. You actually can use forks to propose such changes. You can fork the PLE repository to have your working repository that is a copy of the PLE repository. Any changes you make in this forked repository do not affect the upstream report. So after getting this forked report, you go to the real work in the local repository on your computer. You can clone your forked report, to create a local copy on your computer. And then you can create another branch holding your development work to avoid affecting other branches in this local repository. And you can add new things or make fixes in this branch. After adding the changes into this branch, you can make a commit that actually records these changes in this branch. So this way, the specific changes can be tracked easily with a brief description. So, and now you push the commits made on your local branch in your local repository to the forked report. That is the remote repository on GitHub. So, and then the forked report can also contain the development branch with the changes. Finally, you want to tell the maintainer or the reviewer of the PLE assets that there are some new changes intended to be merged back into this PLE assets repository, right? And you can actually create a pull request with commits from your branch in the forked report. And after submitting a pull request, you actually start a review process. The stakeholders will review the changes. If agreed, the maintainer will merge the pull request back into the PLE assets repository. Basically, your pull request can hold your feature models, your domain assets, variant models, and variant assets. But based on the different use cases, you may have a separate upstream repositories for them. In this presentation, I will use the feature models as a running example to show the workflow. Okay, to show the running example, first, let's have a look at how to fork the PLE assets repository. Since we use a feature model as a running example, so let's assume the program engineer who is responsible for the feature models will do the work here. You can see now we are on the GitHub. So this one is the PLE repository. So under the maintainer's account, this is upstream repository. You can see this repository contains several files. For example, the project file, also the files regarding the feature models, like the functional features feature model and regions feature model. So later on, we will only focus on this functional features feature model. And now if you want to make some changes, you don't want to affect the original project here, then you can directly go to the top here, the red top, and then you can click the fork button to have a forked repository. This forked repository is from actually this maintainer, under the maintainer, the repository under the maintainer. You can see you have the same repository with the same name, but under your own account. And this repository contains the same files as the repository from the upstream. Okay. So after getting a fork, let's see how you can clone the forked report to have a local copy on your computer. Before we head over to Pure Variance client, we need to know the URLs of this forked repository. So we can get this information from the code here. If I click this code, you can see actually we have different possibilities to have the URLs. We have the HTTP URLs. We also have this SSH URLs. It depends on your setup, which kind of URL you want to use. But in this case, we use SSH URL. Now I just copy this one into my clipboard, and then let's head over to this Pure Variance Eclipse client. So you can see on this variant products view, I can do a right click and in the console menu, go to import, and then select projects from Git, next, and further select clone URI, next. You can see the Pure Variance Eclipse client can directly get this information from your clipboard and help you fill out the information automatically. And then we can go to next, and you can see we select the master branch, and then this is the local, the location of your local repository. and then we import the existing Eclipse project. Actually, that is the automotive demo car light pure variance project. If I expand this one, you can see it contains some files here, especially for the functional features feature model. We will use this one later on. And you can also see that this is a PLE Assets repository. It's your local repository, and the master branch is the default branch here. So after we have a local copy, we can make further changes. For example, we will create a new feature, right? And also commit the change and push it back to the forked repository. That is the remote repository on GitHub. To do that, firstly, we will work in this local repository. We can use pure variance Eclipse client. You can see this is the functional features feature model, right? And there's a feature driver assistance. Now we have 3 features, but based on, let's say, based on a requirement from a customer, you have to create a new feature to meet the customer's requirements. For example, the new feature should be hazard warning, but you don't want to directly make some changes on this master branch. You want to create another development branch to make some do some experiments, do some experiments with the changes, but you don't want to make any impact on this master branch. So you can directly go to this automotive demo car light, and then use context menu, go to team, and then select switch and further select new branch. This way we will create a new branch for the development activity. Here, let's name it dev branch. This branch will hold our changes regarding the in the feature model. You can see now the branch has been automatically switched to this dev branch. Now we can add a new feature under this driver assistance. We can use the context menu and then to create a new feature. Firstly, we need to give a name of this feature. That's the unique name. For here, we can only use letters, digits, and underlines to have a valid unique name. Later on, you can also give a wisdom name to have a better understanding what this feature is about. You can use the space here. You can also write in Chinese, in Japanese, in German is okay. And then I decide the variation type should be OR. So meaning that if you have a feature, this is a driver assistance selected in a VDM, so you have to at least select one chat feature here. But you can also have this possibility of selecting multiple of them. It is also possible. Now let's save the changes here. And then let's say, you have already made all the changes, and then you want to track the changes. Then you can use commit functionality, and then you go to this Git staging view. You can see the file functional features feature model containing the changes has been already staged. And moreover, you need to give a short message regarding this commit. For example, we have a new feature has a warning added to this functional features feature model. And then you can commit this change and then push the changes back into this forked repository on GitHub. That is your remote repository. In this way, your forked repository will also hold the changes. Hold this development branch with the changes. Okay. Now let's have a look at how you can create a pull request based on the changes in the development branch. Firstly, let's also have a look at this on the GitHub. You can see this is the forked repository under the engineer's account. Now you can see we have 2 branches. We can click this number here. You can see the first branch is a master branch. That is your default branch, right? And then the second one is the one containing the changes. You can see there's a button, new pull request. We can directly click this button on this branch to create a new pull request. Yeah. So you can see this is the open pull request. We can also write a comment here. For example, like I have added the new feature has a warning to the functional feature model. Please review the changes. Yeah. Then I can create this pull request. Also, you can see on the top of this pull request, you can get to know the source of the pull request, also the destination of the pull request. The source should be the development branch in your forked repository under the engineer account. The destination should be the master branch in this PLE Assets repository. This is upstream repository under the maintainer's account. Okay, let's go ahead. So, and then let's have a look at how the stakeholders can review the changes in the feature model and how to merge the pull request. The stakeholders can be the maintainers or owners or reviewers of the pull request. Also, they have some knowledge regarding the PLE assets thing, so they can review the changes, whether they need to really take the changes back into the PLE assets repository. For this part, let's also go back to this pure variance Eclipse client. Now you can see on my part, because I have already installed the GitHub Melon connector. If you have the GitHub Melon connector installed, you can create a task repository holding the pull request of your PLE Assets repository. So if I switch over to this task list, you can see you can directly get notification, a new task regarding a new pull request. So if you double click this task, you can have a look at the detailed information about this pull request regarding, for example, you can see the description here. You can also see the commit here with the reference. And then if you click this button, you can directly fetch the commits from the pull request into your local repository. So if we do this, then we have a local copy, and then we can directly double click this reference here. You can see the file containing the changes. That is the functional feature model. Also is listed here. If I double click this one, so I will be navigated to this compare view. So on the top, you can see the differences between the two feature models. The difference is actually we have already added a new feature has a warning to the feature model in the development branch, right? If I click this item here, you can see you can have a look at the details information under this in this feature model. You can have a compare view here. So for this one, this is the feature model in the development branch. You can see now there is a new feature created that has a warning. But in the feature model in the current PLE Assets repository, there's no such a feature. So let's say after the review, the maintainer decide to merge the changes back into the PLE Assets repository. So he can directly go to the context menu and then select team and merge. So now you can see the container is using the master branch, and he wants to merge the development branch back into her local master branch. Then he can directly select the development branch, and then he also wants to create a merge commit for this merge, and then he can click merge, and then in this way, the local copy, I mean the master branch in this local repository also hosts the changes from this development branch. Later on, maintainer also want to push all the changes in your local copy back into the PLE Assets repository on GitHub. So he can directly go to team and then push them to the original repository on GitHub. So in this way, the PLE Assets repository also hosts the new changes. So if we switch over back to GitHub, you can see this is the PLE Assets repository under maintainer's account. This is the upstream repository. If we go to the pull request, you can see this is the pull request we created earlier. You can have a look at some information here under this title. That is, this pull request has been already merged back into this upstream report. So, for example, you can also reply to this pull request, like the changes has been reviewed and then merged. So you can comment. Moreover, if you want, you can also delete the development branch because the changes has been already merged back into the PLE Assets repository, so you don't need it anymore. You can just delete it. Yeah, but later on, if you want to restore the branch, it's also possible to do this. You can click the button here. Another thing I would like to introduce you to an additional point regarding creating tags. Tags actually are references pointing to specific points in Git history. They can be used for marked version release, which make it easy to keep track of your versions and roll back if needed. So let's have a look at how you can do that. It's very easy. So you can also go to the context menu of this project, go to Team, Advanced. You can further select Create a tag. You can see there is an tag existing here. This is version 1.0.0. But now I want to create a new tag for the new release, for the new changes. So the version can be 1.1.0. It's just a simple example. And then I can also add some short message to describe what this version is about. And later on, I need to choose the commit related to this tag. For example, I need to choose commit regarding the merge, because this one containing the new changes. So I select this one, and then create tag and push the information back to the PLE Assets repository. I can click next, and then finish this one. So later on in your PLE Assets repository, it also contains this new tag information. If you want to have a look at the tag information, you can directly go to the context menu, go to Team, and select Show in History. So in this view, you can directly have a look at the tag information for different commits. It's very easy to track the versions. So since the PLE Assets report, that is the upstream report, has been updated, if you want to work on the latest version of the PLE Assets, you need to fetch them from the upstream report into your local report, right? So to do this, you can also directly do this in Purev's Eclipse client. For example, you can see on my side, I have two remotes. The first one is for the forked repository, and the second one is for the upstream repository. That is the PLE Assets repository. So if you create another remote for upstream, you can directly use the context menu of this upstream repository and to fetch the changes directly into your local repository. Now you can see in my local repository, I also have the latest master branch of the upstream repository. I can directly merge the changes in this master back into my local repository. Okay. In this way, I can have an updated master branch in my local repository. And later on, for example, if you are the maintainer of this forked repository, so you can also push the changes back into your forked repository. Then the engineers who working on this forked repository can directly fetch the updates, fetch the new PLE assets directly from the forked repository. Okay. Finally, let's go back to this workflow. So Earlier, I just show you an example with the feature model. So we added a new feature to a functional features feature model, right? But actually, this will also affect your domain assets since you need to add new assets related to this feature. Moreover, your variant models and variant assets are also affected by the new feature and the new assets. For example, you have some new source code in the variant assets and derived from the latest version of the domain assets. And you want to, let's say, build and test your applications affected by these new changes when there is a new pull request created. You want to check whether there are issues or errors in the applications caused by the new changes, or maybe you want to have a check for the code standards. If everything is okay, the changes will be merged back into the PLE Assets report. If you manually do the build and test, it takes lots of time or lots of effort because you may have lots of pull requests each day. Actually, it is possible to automate the build and test, for example, using the GitHub actions. The key part highlighted here is that pure variants can also be integrated into the automated build and test. For example, the transformations can be automatically done with the AND script. That is to say, when a pull request is created, the variant assets can be automatically derived to make the build and test. If it passes the automated build and test successfully, the maintainer can review and merge the changes back into the PLE Assets repository. But if it fails, due to some issues, it will go back to the engineers to fix the issues and then push them back to this here, to this part, to this branch, and then you can do the automated build and test again. So you can say actually pure variants is capable of being integrated into your continuous engineering and CI/CD. In this webcast, we introduce you to the configuration management via GitHub, but actually you can do the same thing with GitLab, via GitLab. Okay, I think that's all about configuration management via GitHub I want to share with you today. But in the end of my part of the presentation, I would like to quickly remind you where you can find all the webcast recordings in the past. So they are on YouTube. If you search Pure Systems on this YouTube, you can directly find our channel with a lot of recordings. For example, you can find our own webcast recordings. You can also find the recordings from our partners. Okay, that's all for my part. Thank you for your attention, and I will hand it back to Robert.
Thank you, Yang. So now let's have a look at questions asked during the session. And at this point in time, we only have one question here. So if I have a lot of variants that need to be built and tested, is it possible to trigger the transformation for them in parallel automatically?
Oh, yes, of course. This is a good question. The answer is yes. You can actually decide in the scripts to trigger the transformations either sequentially or in parallel. Actually, transformations in parallel will actually save lots of time. But actually, in this way, you also need multiple pure variants licenses. This is needed. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so I don't see any other questions. So with that, I will close the webcast for today. Thank you, Yang, for the nice presentation. Thanks to the audience for your attention. We hope it was helpful to you, and we are looking forward to see you again in another webcast. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.